Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review something on Netflix called Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, and then some people call it Godzilla Monster Planet, but it's listed on Netflix as Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. It says Godzilla on Netflix, and it says episode 1 and just that one item. And it's a movie, and it said on here, where's it at? Um, it said that it's 2017 Japanese animation film featuring Godzilla by Toho Animation, when I didn't know they had an animation studio. 32nd film in the Godzilla franchise, and this is supposed to be the first animated film in a franchise. The film is the first in the trilogy. There's supposed to be 3 movies coming up. And it was released theatrically in Japan on November 17th, and then released worldwide on Netflix January 17th. I saw it today, and here's my review of it. First of all, I thought it was needlessly complicated. The first half hour, it's weird because everything's out of place, and the way they filmed it, instead of making it straightforward, they just did it in a way that's too complicated. I'll tell you what. I even read it off the plot. It says, in the last summer of the 20th century, giant monsters began, and this is more straightforward the way they have it here, the plot. I'm not going to give away any spoilers. I'm just telling you about the first half hour because it's very complicated and maybe make it a little more sense. And then after that, it's a little more easier to follow because there's lots of stuff at the beginning. So in the last summer of the 20th century, giant monsters began appearing all over the world and wreaking havoc, especially Godzilla. And then there's 2 types of aliens that came about, Exif and then Balissalado. Eventually arrived with the former attempting to convert humanity to their religion, the Exif, and the later seeking to emigrate to Earth with promises to defeat Godzilla with Mechagodzilla, should humanity accept them. And then the Balisado was unable to activate Mechagodzilla, which forced the aliens and humanity to abandon Earth and emigrate to another planet. And they're in this like giant ship. It says 20 years later, the captain locks himself in the shuttle, threatening to bomb the area unless the ship leaves the planet and abandons the immigration product. And then he believes the planet is uninhabitable and the immigrants' crew only consists of elderly, including his grandfather. He believes the ship committee are trying to reduce the population by letting them on the planet, which he says is uninhabitable. And then he fails and then is arrested and thrown in jail, where he witnesses the immigration shuttle blow up upon entering the planet. Now, this is the first half hour or so. Now, the way it's constructed is very complicated because first you see the ship coming in, and the guy locks himself in, and he says he's threatening to blow up the ship. And then he says, years ago, the monsters came upon, and they talked about the alien. I don't remember them ever talking about the Balisado or whatever they're called, and Mechagodzilla. They talk about Mechagodzilla a little bit when the 2 aliens are conversing during the first half hour. The Exif and one Exif and one Balisado or whatever they're called. And then they go back. It would make more sense to do the stuff in the past first, why they were in space. And it's just crazy. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And they made it needlessly complicated. And after that, they decided one of the aliens leaked this thing out to show Godzilla's weakness. And then after all these years, they decided to abandon that planet because you couldn't live there and go back to Earth and jump light speed or whatever it is, back to Earth. And they're trying to go in there to find out about Godzilla, and then if Godzilla's there to finally kill him. And it's been like over 20 years, which is 10,000 years on Earth, and they assume Godzilla's dead, and of course he ain't. And I don't want to give away any more. This is a real disappointment. You barely see Godzilla, and whenever you do, it's not for that long. And I think what they did is they added a lot of live action to it because it doesn't look all animated. They added live action with the Godzilla monster in there. Cool explosions and stuff like that, but nothing really happens until there's monsters on there. And it takes forever for there to be monsters. There's these one-winged creatures when they get on the planet Earth. They're there for a little bit, and then Godzilla shows up for a little bit, a second, or during the last 35 minutes, and then, like 26 minutes in, they show him for a little while. But I mean, it's just complete disappointment. Mostly it's the people, and the people are pretty boring. They're not fleshed out characters. They're not very interesting. Even on they said a critical reaction to this. Where's it at? Okay, it said that that the website that said that the characters aren't all that interested, but did say the anime version of Godzilla is pretty good, but he's barely in there. I mean, it was a neat idea, but it just doesn't work out. I mean, I don't think it was very cool. I mean, they talk about how neat Godzilla is, but Godzilla's barely in the movie, and then whenever it's on there, it's pretty anticlimactic. It basically surrounding the uninteresting human characters in the film and the alien characters. And none of them are very interesting. I even like anime, but I think this is very disappointing. Shin Godzilla, which I saw, is much better. The human characters were interesting. They did like political satire around Godzilla, talking about the procedurals and jokes around Godzilla evolving. And you see a lot more Godzilla, and Godzilla did far more cool stuff than he does in this one. You don't see nothing. It's a real disappointment. I give Godzilla Planet of the Monsters a 4 out of 10. I was very disappointed with this. And I didn't know on Rotten Tomatoes, like 53% of people liked it. I was very disappointed. See Shin Godzilla, that's much better than this. But, I mean, it's cool that it's on Netflix, and then when the second part comes out, I'll definitely watch it and review it again. Hopefully it'll be better. Because most of this movie is basically just setup. And a lot of the movies are just on the ship walking around and talking and complaining. And that's about it. I think it was maybe influenced some by Kong Skull Island, because you see him on I don't know, fighting monsters. There's not very many monsters in this one to be fought. They don't show that many monsters in this one. King Kong Skull Island, I love that, but this is only very disappointing. Only a 4 out of 10 for Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. So until next time, bye please. Take care, my legion. It's on Netflix. I mean, if you're a fan of Godzilla, you'll probably like it, but I was very disappointed in this one. Shin Godzilla is a million times better, believe me.